Today's video is not going to be like your normal chest workout where you have a strict set of exercises you have to do. Instead, I want to offer more of a roadmap. So depending on where you're at in your workout journey, you can choose different exercises that are best for you. Like always, you want to be hydrated, guys. There's studies that go back at least a decade now showing that your overall strength and performance is going to increase by at least 15% when you're hydrated. So make sure you're hydrated, drink lots of water, get your electrolytes before you work out, not when you're working out. And as always, you want to have a nitric oxide supplement before you work out, at least 15 minutes, to get a really good pump in your muscles, right? Because all your muscle gains are going to come from your pump, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to get all veiny. It just means that your muscles are going to be more fuller and you're going to have better blood flow through your vascular system. We always want to make sure we warm up first, guys. We've all heard it a lot of times, but it's very important to get your joints, not just your muscles, fired up to prevent injury, right? You can go side to side, get your chest, your shoulders moving, forward, back. And a lot of guys, and even girls too, have their rotator cuffs, right? And a lot of pain where they can't really do a lot of the chest exercises, right? And there's a trick that I learned from a physical therapist where you grab something that's strong, like a barbell, or you can use the pulleys too if they're not taken at your gym. And you're keeping your arms straight out and you're moving your body down, right? And you're not moving your shoulder, right? Just your body down, where you're creating that little pop, right? In your rotator joint right there, that little pop. Oh, there it is. And that'll really help warm up your shoulders to where you don't have as much pain when you work out. And over time, I used to not be able to do incline presses at all because I had so much pain. Over time, just doing that once a day, right, with my dresser or at the gym, really relieves a lot of that pain in the shoulders to where you can start doing those exercises again for your chest. So we're all warmed up, guys. Let's go get it done. So you're all warmed up, right? You're hydrated, you got your nitric oxide, your vascular system flowing. So where do we go next with our chest, right? Chest day. I always recommend doing the most efficient or best exercise you can do first, because you can always lift the most weight, right, in the beginning. So you want to start with flies, right? I would say there's a lot of science, and a lot of the top trainers in the world also agree with me that this by far stimulates the most growth and the most stress, right, in your chest to get those bigger chest muscles. So depending on if you're wanting to target your upper chest or your lower chest more is where you're going to set, right, the seat. If you want to go upper chest more, you're going to raise the seat up and you're going to get more flexation in your lower pectoral. If you want to do the upper chest, you want to go down and you're going to activate more of your upper chest, right? Now, one trick I learned from one of my trainers early on was we have 3 different hand positions here, right? We have the normal one, we have the actual machine itself, and then we have this back one. So for a lot of guys, if you want to build more of a 3D chest instead of just a, parallel or one-way chest, you want to get more of a 3D look, what you can do is for your first 2 sets, you're coming here with this grip, and then you're going to transition grips. So you're getting different parts of the chest activated, right? So for the last one, you're switching your grip again. And you're coming here, right? So these different grips, you don't want to actually do that, right? This is because I have no weight on the machine. But the different grips here are going to activate different parts of your chest, right? That is one really cool trick I learned early on to activate more of that 3D all-around chest. So after you do your pec flies, guys, which I always recommend doing seated so you can prevent injury, right? Protect your lower back and also focus more on your form, we're going to come to a seated incline press, right? Now with this one, we're doing 4 sets just like the flies, right? 4 sets is always optimal for muscle growth, and you always want to start off around 20 reps and then come down to 15 reps. Now when you're doing pec flies, you always want to keep it above 15 reps just because of the movement, but for incline press, you always want to aim for about 12, 15 reps, right? You're going to always start off higher with lower weight, and then build your way down to 10, 12 reps with more weight as you progress through your sets, right? Now, one really cool trick with this that I learned, if you really want to get a really good pump, instead of just doing your normal press like this, right, you're going to come up about halfway and activate the muscle, and then you come down, not all the way, right, where you're letting the tension off the muscle, right? You're coming up a little bit, back down, right? Now your muscle's activating with all that blood flow, and then you come all the way up, right? You're not locking out at the top, right? That's how you can really mess up your elbow joints, especially over time and with a lot of weight. It's just right there, right before lockout, you're really squeezing your chest muscle, and then you're coming all the way back down, right? You're not dropping it here, just all the way right there, keeping the tension on the muscle, right? And then once again, you're coming halfway up, letting your chest fill with that blood, just about back down, and then, oh my goodness, all that blood flow, right? Squeeze, back down, open up, all the way up, squeeze, slowly back down, right? One tip, guys, is to always feel the tension, right? So you're going halfway up, feel that blood flow again, great job, and then you're coming all the way up, right? So open up, all the way up, and you're doing this for 6 to 8 reps, right? You always want to fight for the 8, right? So that's that one, guys. The next trick, guys, I want to show you for the incline press, and remember, you can do this with a barbell. I just prefer this machine. One, it's usually available at most gyms over the barbell, and two, it's better for beginners because it helps you out with your form, right? So the next trick that I want to show you is you're here, right? And you're going to do 5 partial reps at the bottom. So you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're coming all the way up. And once again, you're not locking out your elbows, right? You're just all the way up, squeeze. And at the top, we're doing 5 more reps. 3, 4, 5. And now we got all of this blood flow at the bottom and at the top. And we're going to come all the way down. And we're going to do 5 full reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? And then that's gonna be, that would be the second 2 sets out of the 4 that you do, right? The first 5 are gonna be the halfway up, halfway down, and then pump, right? Open up, pump. Those are the first 2 sets, and these would be the next 2 sets that you do. And again, this can work on the barbell incline too, or the machine here. So let's keep going, guys. The difference between the dumbbells and the barbell is the dumbbell, you're gonna get a lot more range of motion, right? So with that extra range of motion are gonna come more gains, but with that freedom comes responsibility, right? So you have to have really good form. I always recommend having a personal trainer, even a friend, watch you when you're doing the dumbbell presses. And one thing I really like with the incline press is on the chest, we have this outer part of the chest, right? It's a little bit harder to hit, right? Because we have this part of the chest, the lower, upper, and then right on the outside, there's this nice sweet spot that we can really build with dumbbells, where we come over a little bit wider. You don't want your elbow to be out, right? If your elbow's out, you can once again mess up your elbow joint. So your elbow's staying in, but you're reaching over a little bit further until you feel that tension on the outer part of your chest, right? And you're just doing normal presses right here, right? So instead of being in, right, you're coming out a little bit and activating that outer part of your chest. And once again, guys, the point of that is to build an all-around chest, right? You don't want the outside to be lacking and then you got this really big, bulgy inner chest, right? So after you've done your upper chest exercise, if that's either with the dumbbells or the barbell machine or traditional barbell, like I showed you in the beginning, Now we're gonna build down to the lower chest, right? And a lot of people like to just do a flat bench press because it's in their comfort zone, right? Most likely like myself, right? We did it in high school, right? Nonstop to where we grew up as adults. It's just something we're comfortable with. Well, I wanna challenge you to do something that a lot of professional bodybuilders and a lot of other people that are really good at this recommend doing, which is a decline press, right? And with this, you're really activating more of the lower pecs. There's a lot more activation, and not only that, because of the gravity or how it's set up, right, the isometrics, you're able to do a lot more weight too. And with more weight, you're gonna build more gains, right? So it's not rocket science. It's just like a normal press. You're coming in here. Make sure you bring this up. Make sure your legs and your foot is coming underneath to where you can't slip, right? And then we're coming down. And one thing I see a lot of guys do, right, for the grip, you want to make sure you're coming wide enough, right? All the way out. You don't want to be in, right? You want to make sure you're coming all the way out. And your wrists are going to stay straight. If your wrists go bent like this, you're putting all that weight on your wrist, right? I feel like I'm in space right now, guys, with the anti-gravity. So I'm going to go here. So, right, your wrists are straight, your elbows are coming in. And one thing a lot of guys do is they don't go out enough, right? You want to, when you come down, the bar is going right below your pec, right? You're all the way out like that, right? You're not coming up here, right, to your upper chest. You want to make sure you bring it out enough. And once again, you're not locking out the elbows, right? You're just coming all the way up, squeezing, and then all the way down. And once again, this is for 4 sets. You want to aim for 15 reps, and then you can drop down to about 12, but increase the weight as you go. Woo. And I am back to earth, guys. So we're coming down, guys, and we have a triangle grip on the dumbbell, right? So first you make your triangle with your hands, and then you don't want the weight, right? You don't want your wrist coming back and put all the weight on your wrist, right? Because then we're going to have wrist injury, and that's weight we're taking away from our chest. So you have your triangle, straight wrist, and then you're coming back, and then you're throwing that tension as you come back, and then you're bringing it up, and you're squeezing the chest, right? So we're coming back, and we're squeezing up, right, guys? We don't want to be swinging up like this, right? What we want is that squeeze, all those muscle fibers activating. Ooh, that feels good. Right, mind to body connection. And with this, a lot of guys, right, you're leaving out, or you're exerting extra energy by coming all the way back like this, right? Which is it's all shoulders, that's not chest. And you don't need to come all the way here either, right? So we want to maximize our energy for gain. So this is a much smaller movement than most guys make it, right? So open, tension, flex, squeeze. And I'll put the reps and the sets in the description, guys. But basically we're doing 4 more sets. So next we're gonna do triceps, guys, after we've done our 4 different exercises for the chest, right? We hit upper chest, mid, lower, and then that inner, and then outer 2, depending on if you use the dumbbells. Next we're gonna come to triceps. Now the question here, the big debate is, hey, I've already done my chest, I've already activated my triceps, I don't need to do any more, right, tricep isolations, maybe just, right, 1 exercise for 4 sets and that's it. Well, now the big question we have here is, are you going natural with your pre-workout, your protein and your creatine, or are you going TRT with your testosterone? Because with where the fitness industry is now in 2025, we have so many guys on testosterone where if you've already done your 4 different exercises for your chest, then if you're going natural, you only need to do 2 more exercises, even just, 4 sets, right? Now, if you're going the TRT or testosterone and whatever hormones guys take, then you're going to be doing at least 3, if not 4 more exercises of triceps, right? Now, what exercises you choose to do, I mean, it's totally up to you. Everyone has their preferences, and at the end of the day, it comes down to what works best for you, right? I will give some pointers here, right, on the rope pulley. A lot of guys, they like to hold at the very end, right? This is not a squeeze, right? This is a fluid motion, right? You're not doing it so fluid to where you're just, right, all ego just like that, right? But at the same time, you're not squeezing at the end, right? If you want to squeeze at the end, you're going to use the bar that comes out like a V, right? So as I was saying, guys, we have this grip here. With this one, we're squeezing at the end, right? This is really good for squeezing. And then we have just the normal traditional bar here. This is really good because you can do an upward grip and you can also switch to a reverse grip, right? Now, we have most of the pulley movements done for the triceps. Right? There's a couple other grips, but as I said, you don't need to focus too much on the grips, but more so the sets and reps that you're doing, right? Because we already did our chest, all of our chest, and like I said, if you're going the natural route, then you only need 4 more sets, right? You can do 2 ropes, and then you can do 2 Vs, right? If you're going the testosterone or TRT route, then you're doing 4 of these, and even 1 more exercise like overhead dumbbell extensions, right, for your tricep. Now, what I will tell you is you always want to do half and half, right? Coming down, and then you want to be doing, as I mentioned, coming up from above, right, like this, right? So once again, if you're natural, you're doing like 2 sets of these, and then 2 sets of an exercise coming from overhead. If you're using testosterone, you're going to be doing like 8 sets, and then 8 sets like this, right? So it all depends on which way you're going. And then the last debate is shoulders, right? You want to throw in shoulders. We're going to cover that in this last section, guys. So let's go over there. So the last one, guys, right, is our shoulders. Now, once again, my reasoning behind this is that you're doing so many chest movements where you already activate your shoulders. It's best just to finish off and do a shoulder exercise while we're here, instead of separating it, an entire day or dedicating an entire day to our shoulders, right? It's better just to finish them off right here while we're here. So with this exercise, and if you already have really good shoulders or you already feel a really good shoulder pump at this point in your workout, then you don't need to do this, right? We don't want to overtrain. But if your shoulders feel pretty good and you want to build, your shoulder gains are kind of lacking a little bit, then we can come here, right? And with this, a lot of people don't understand is when we're doing these shoulder raises from the front like this is for more of the frontal inner shoulder, right? Now, if you want to hit the rear delts, this is coming sideways, right? And if you're a beginner, I highly recommend using the pulley machine if it's available at your gym. That way you can have better control and better movement, right? Now, if you've been doing this before, you don't need to use the pulley machine. We can just come straight for the dumbbells. And the biggest thing, guys, for this, I see a lot of guys just going like this, right? And what you're doing is maybe you're burning a little bit of your shoulder joints, but you're not getting any gains, right? So what we're doing here is we're raising up and we're squeezing, right? And it's not coming from the shoulders like this, guys, right? It's coming from a squeeze, right? So we're squeezing up the shoulders, or if we're doing it from the front, we're squeezing up, coming down, squeezing up, coming down. And as I said, guys, depending on if you want to work the outer, then you're doing 4 sets of these. If you're wanting to hit more of the frontal areas, we're doing 4 sets of these. And then you have the shoulder part of your workout done. I have one more burner that I want to add in for you guys as a bonus. We're going to go do that, right? I'm not done with you yet. Now, guys, the final thing we're going to do, one of my trainers, Will, taught me early on, is once we're done with all of our chest, triceps, and shoulders, we don't want to leave any gains on the table before we go home, right? So we're going to do some good old push-ups. There is no rep count. This is just pure failure, right? We're going for 2 sets until you fail. Now, a lot of people at this point, if you've been listening to all my pointers about form, technique, and doing the right amount of reps and sets, and really pushing yourself, right, guys? Because the key to bodybuilding or gaining muscle is really pushing your muscles out of their comfort zone, right? The body is so resilient to where a lot of guys hit plateaus because they're not pushing themselves for those last 2 or 3 reps, which is where all the gains really occur, right? Was when your muscle goes into shock, right? Those last 2 or 3 reps that you're really fighting for it, and that's where that growth occurs. So
Well, here, guys, this is the last burner we're going to do just to really shock the muscles, and these are just good old push-ups, right? A lot of gyms have these handles where you don't got to get your hands dirty, and if they don't, you can use a flat bench press, and we're just going to do good old push-ups, right? And this is just until you hit failure, right? Now, if you want to hit more of the triceps, if you're focusing more on triceps or your chest is already really good, you can bring the grip in closer, right? Do more of a triangle press here. And this, once again, guys, is just until you burn out, right? We're doing push-ups just until you burn out. And one thing, guys, I always recommend each workout is changing the order you do things. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger used to always say, we really want to confuse and once again shock the muscles, because shock is what grows the muscles. So another trick you can do is in the beginning when you're doing your flies, you save 2 sets for the very end. And what you're going to do at the end of your workout with those last 2 sets of flies is you're going to do your 15 reps. And then as soon as you're done, right, because we have an inward movement for our chest, as soon as you do your flies, you're going to come straight here and start doing the push exercise for your chest, right? And those would be your last 2 sets to really burn out and finish off the chest and your triceps too with the push-ups, right? And if you guys are more advanced, you can even replace the push-ups with dips too, which are another great exercise, guys. This is the end of the video, guys. I really hope that you guys learned a lot of different things and a lot of different tricks to really build that all-around 3D chest and hit all the different parts to really maximize your gains. Thanks for watching, guys.